Episode 27 Homecoming.
Vishal came out of the house and took the lift downstairs to the society lawn. He desperately wanted to smoke. Karina was downright upset. But Vishal was helpless. Majboori hai yaar, he told himself. He took out his mobile and called up Amit Kumar. Amit ji, I'll come tomorrow, okay? I think I'll come around 12 noon. Please keep the paperwork ready. Yes, I am bringing the check too. Chalo then, bye. Vishal covered his face with his hands and almost slumped down on the garden bench. His conversation with Amit Kumar should have relieved him. But on the contrary, it made him feel worse. Vishal remembered the last few months. The second wave of the pandemic was devastating. He was very worried for his parents as Papa was paralytic from waist down and needed constant care. Business at the bank had steeply declined, so it had become little difficult to pull through. And then news came in that Minti, Karina's younger sister, and her husband Kunal were hospitalized due to COVID. Their condition began to deteriorate. Sadly, both Kunal and Minti, they succumbed to the virus. Karina's world almost collapsed as her only sibling had died. She brought home Minti's 3-year-old daughter, Juhi. Vishal was quite angry at this decision. Being the only earning member of the family, he barely managed to give a decent life to his own children. Aryan, 8, and Vedehi, 6. And of course, he had the responsibility of his aging and not so healthy parents. So bringing up a third child was just impossible. Karina cried and argued and offered to work as well. But a simple graduate would hardly find a well-paid job. Finally, Vishal put his foot down. He told Karina that either she could tell the grandparents of Juhi to take her in, or else they should take the little one to a COVID orphanage. Juhi's grandparents were in no condition to take her in. Mr. Arora was a heart patient and Mrs. Arora had to go for dialysis every third day. Karina was so devastated. She couldn't bring herself to let go of Juhi. The very thought of the orphanage sent shudders down her spine. But Vishal was adamant. Vishal held little Juhi's hands in his own. In the other hand, he had a small duffel bag containing Juhi's clothes and a few toys that Karina and the children had kept for her. Amit Kumar was waiting in the office. The orphanage was housed inside a dilapidated, shabby-looking government house. Originally a 3-bedroomed ground floor flat, it was now being used as a makeshift orphanage. The lawn outside the flat was full of overgrown grass and weeds. It was strewn with wasted food, a few diaper poly bags, medicine cartons, parts of broken toys and torn clothes. There were clothes hanging in the veranda to dry. Right next to the entrance, Vishal saw an overflowing dustbin with used diapers stuffed almost to the brim. Vishal held his breath and went inside. Amit Kumar was sitting at a table in what must have been the living room of the flat. He looked up at Vishal with an unsmiling face. Juhi was almost clinging to Vishal's hand and sat on his lap. Wordlessly, Mr. Kumar pushed a form towards Vishal. Vishal opened his briefcase and took out all documents. Kunal and Minti's death certificates, Kunal's parents' poor health and meager finances documents, and so on. He also gave a declaration form that said that he and Karina, as the nearest relatives, were not in a condition to bring up Juhi. After filling up all the details, Vishal pushed the thick set of documents towards Kumar. As the latter began to go through them, Vishal looked around. He could hear numerous voices of children of various ages. Some very young ones were brawling. There was a foul smell, almost a stench that emanated from the inside portion. There were 3 ayahs who were taking care of the children, scolding them, cooking, washing clothes, administering medicines, and also helping Kumar in the small ramshackle office. More than the children, Vishal heard the 3 of them shouting every second minute. Juhi was so scared that she clung on to Vishal closer. Vishal just hoped that she wouldn't start crying now. Kumar shouted out to one of the ayahs, "Jamuna! Jamuna! Take this girl inside." A ferocious-looking short and fat lady answered to the call. She had a big broom in one hand and a bucket of rice in the other. She shouted, "किसन कहाँ चला गया? ये बच्चों ने राइस गिरा दिया सारा। जितना उठा सकती थी उठा लिया। अरे बाकी का तो साफ करना पड़ेगा ना?" She put down the broom against the office table and in one swoop scooped Juhi out from Vishal's lap. Both Vishal and Juhi were so stunned by this action that they couldn't react. She took Juhi inside. Once the office door closed, Vishal couldn't see where was Juhi taken. "Do you send them to school?" asked Vishal. "Yes, they are sent to the government school. For the smaller kids, we are arranging a teacher, but so far we haven't got one," replied Amit Kumar. A minute later, a tall, plump, dirty, shabbily dressed man with a broom entered the office. Jamuna Bai came from within and shouted, "क्या किसान? काम कब करेगा? अब सब मैं करूं क्या? 2 दिन से तू भाजी तरकारी नहीं लाया। दाल चावल कब तक खिलाऊं? And soon, first clean up the mess in the angan. The rice bucket fell down. And soon, don't get angry on the children, bhai. You scare them unnecessarily. अभी कोई बच्चा बड़े साहब के सामने कुछ बोल देगा ना, तो लेने देने पड़ जाएंगे, समझा?" Kishan just glared at Vishal and asked, "कोई नया आया है क्या?" replied Kumar. "लड़की है, 3 years old, COVID orphan." Vishal clearly saw that Kishan was quite interested in this information. Kishan came forward and placed a bill on the table. "Saab, vegetable bill. Have got 10 kg potato and 10 kg lauki." Jamuna shouted, "Arey yaar Kisan, you have been getting these 2 vegetables since last 2 months now. The children are refusing to eat. This morning that new kid Sharnam, he vomited in the angan. Arey chal tu ja, first clean up all the mess." "Arey, why do you worry, madam? For you, aapke liye I have got bhindi, cabbage, pumpkin." And Kishan laughed loudly, in which Jamuna also joined him. "Your papers are ready, Vishal, sir." Kumar pushed a paper and pen towards him. It was the final form that declared that Juhi Kunal Arora will now be a resident of this orphanage. Vishal stared at the form and then at Kumar. There was a complete silence for 2 minutes. Then, as if an electric shock had gone through his body, Vishal sprang up. He rushed inside and shouted, "Juhi! Juhi!" He saw Juhi slumped against the wall of a room, looking horrified and absolutely shaken up. She had no clue what was happening to her or around her. Vishal was pulled back by Kishan. "ए साहब, हटो, हटो यहाँ से, हटो। अंदर आना अलाउड नहीं है साहब। छोड़ दो, अरे छोड़ो उस बच्चे को. You can't meet her or touch her now. छोड़ो. Vishal kicked Kishan, rushed inside, picked up Juhi and ran back to the office. Panting, he told Kumar, Amit Kumar, sir, सुनो, मैं मेरे बच्चे को यहाँ नहीं छोड़ूंगा ना. Juhi is my daughter now. I can't allow her to be brought up in this atmosphere. Me and my wife, we will work hard and eat less and spend less. But I won't leave Juhi here. Tear all these forms, Amitji. I am taking my child home.